Okay, guys. Tonight we're stepping into one of the most dangerous traps of the human mind, the trap of anger. You know the feeling. One careless word, one small betrayal, one unfair moment, and suddenly, it's like fire spreads through your chest. You replay it over and over, and instead of burning the person who hurt you, it burns you. Anger is a thief, and it has stolen far too many days, far too much peace. But let me ask you this, what if you could break free from it forever? What if I told you that anger is the heaviest set of chains you'll ever wear? And worse, it's chains you put on yourself. Imagine being insulted, but instead of boiling inside, you smile calmly, untouched, like a mountain unmoved by the storm. What would it feel like to live unshaken? Or another example, two people face the same insult. One erupts, screaming, boiling inside, unable to let it go. The other breathes, lets the words pass like wind through an open window, and remains unshaken. Same event. Different outcomes. The difference isn't in the world, it's in the way they see the world. Which one do you want to be? Marcus Aurelius said, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Think about that. Nobody can make you angry without your consent. That choice, that hidden power has been in your hands all along. The insults, the betrayals, the unfairness, they only sting if you decide to grant them entry into your mind. This is the hidden power the Stoics discovered, the ability to live free, calm, and unshakable in a world designed to provoke you. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 8 Stoic rules that will help you destroy anger and upset forever. These are not abstract ideas from ancient scrolls. They're practical tools you can use every day to protect your peace, master your emotions, and walk through life untouchable. So, before we begin, take a breath. Let the day fall away. Now, dim the lights and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Rule 1. Separate. What happened from what you think it means? Let me ask you a question. What truly makes you angry? Is it the event itself or the meaning you attach to it? Seneca once wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." That's not just about fear, it's about anger too. What makes you upset is rarely the event itself. It's the story you build around it. Imagine this, someone cuts you off in traffic. Immediately your mind jumps. How dare they? They disrespected me. They put me in danger. People are selfish. And instantly, the blood boils. But pause. What's the truth here? The truth is simple. A car changed lanes in front of yours. That's it. That's the event. Everything else, the disrespect, the selfishness, the personal attack, comes from the story your mind attaches to it. Now imagine reframing that same event. Maybe the driver is rushing to the hospital. Maybe they didn't even see you. Or maybe they are simply careless. But here's the point, why should their carelessness have the power to ruin your peace? The Stoics taught that no event is inherently good or bad. Events are neutral. It's our judgment that paints them in color, and that judgment is optional. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The power of revoking judgment. This is revolutionary, because it means that every single time you feel anger rise within you, you can ask yourself one clarifying question. Am I upset because of what happened, or because of the meaning I gave it? That single question is like a sword that cuts through the fog of rage. It reminds you the world didn't wound you. Your interpretation did. And if your interpretation can be rewritten, your peace can be restored. Why we hand over our peace so easily. Here's the tragedy: we hand over our inner calm as if it were worthless. Someone says a rude word, and suddenly we're not just annoyed for a minute, we're angry for hours. We let their careless act dominate our mind. It's like taking a burning coal someone tossed near you and deciding to hold it tightly against your chest. Anger doesn't punish the other person. It punishes you. It steals your clarity. It clouds your judgment. It poisons your joy. So the real question becomes, why give that power away so cheaply? Imagine yourself as a strong oak tree. The storm rages around you. The wind howls. The rain pounds. But you are rooted. You are unmoved. The storm will pass, but your strength remains. That's what it feels like when you master this Stoic rule. Practical tools to apply. Rule 1. Now, it's not enough to just understand this idea, you need tools to live it. Let me give you 3. 1. Or pause before reacting. When something irritates you, force yourself to take 3 slow breaths before speaking or acting. Just 3 seconds. It may sound small, but those 3 seconds give you back the driver's seat. They pull you out of autopilot and put you back in control. 2. Reframe the situation. Instead of thinking, "This is unfair to me," try asking, "What if this isn't about me at all?" Most of the time, it isn't. Someone else's rudeness or selfishness is about their inner state, not your worth. 3. Detach from the story. When anger rises, remind yourself the event is neutral. The judgment is optional. Say it out loud if you have to. Train your mind to see the raw fact without the attached drama. How this changes your life. The moment you begin separating events from judgments, something incredible happens. You stop being controlled by other people's behavior. You stop being a puppet pulled by the strings of every insult or slight. Instead, you become the master of your inner world. Think of all the times anger has stolen your energy, ruined your morning, distracted you from your work, soured your relationships. Now imagine reclaiming that energy. Imagine moving through life as a calm observer instead of a constant reactor. This isn't about becoming numb or passive. It's about becoming wise. It's about choosing when and how you respond instead of being jerked around by reflexes. That's real strength. So here's your practice tonight. The next time anger rises, pause and ask, am I upset because of what happened, or because of the meaning I gave it? And then remind yourself, no one controls my peace but me. That affirmation is not just words, it's a declaration of independence. It's you reclaiming your sovereignty over your mind. Drop it in the comments right now. No one controls my peace but me. Because when you say it, you start to live it. Rule 2. Expect people to be flawed. Let me ask you something. Why are we so often surprised when people disappoint us? Why do we still act shocked when someone lies, cheats, gossips, forgets, or fails us? We live in a world full of imperfect human beings, and yet every time we run into imperfection, we act as though we've stumbled across something unnatural. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, the man with more responsibility on his shoulders than perhaps any human being alive in his time, began each morning with this reminder: the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they don't know good from evil. Think about that. The most powerful man in the world didn't begin his day expecting loyalty, honesty, and gratitude. He prepared himself for flaws. Why? Because he understood one of life's most painful truths. If you expect perfection from people, you are sentencing yourself to endless anger. Why we get angry at others? The truth is, simple anger often arises not from what people do, but from the gap between our expectations and their behavior. We expect honesty, but someone lies. We expect loyalty, but someone betrays us. We expect kindness, but someone is selfish. And suddenly, our peace evaporates. But pause for a moment. Why did you expect perfection from a species that has never once been perfect? The Stoics remind us human beings are flawed by nature. We make mistakes. We fall short. We act out of ignorance, insecurity, or selfishness. To be shocked by this is like being shocked when a child spills milk. You wouldn't scream in disbelief. You would expect it, and you would calmly clean it up. So why do we forget this wisdom when it comes to adults? The power of expectation. If you walk into life expecting flawless behavior, every betrayal, every insult, every careless action will sting like a dagger. But if you walk in expecting imperfection, suddenly the sting disappears. Think of it this way: when you step into a crowded marketplace, do you get furious because people bump into you? Do you lose your mind when someone speaks too loudly or cuts in line? Of course not. You accept that this is what crowds are like. Life is a crowded marketplace of flawed human beings. When you accept that, nothing surprises you anymore. And when nothing surprises you, your anger begins to vanish. Ignorance, not evil. Marcus said people act badly because they don't know good from evil. In other words, most harmful behavior isn't born of malice, it's born of ignorance. Think about it: the person who insults you is often carrying their own pain. The person who betrays you may be driven by fear or weakness. The person who lies may be trying clumsily to protect themselves. When you start to see this, anger transforms into something else. Not approval, not excusing their behavior, but understanding, compassion, calm detachment. Seneca reminds us how much better to heal than to seek revenge from injury. Vengeance wastes time and puts you in the same category as those who wrong you. When someone wounds you, your task is not to descend into their chaos. Your task is to remain whole. How to practice this rule daily? Let me give you 4 practical steps to live this Stoic truth. Morning preparation. Before you step into the world each day, remind yourself, I will meet people today who are rude, selfish, careless, or unfair. But none of that can rob me of my peace. This small act of preparation arms your mind against surprise. 2. See ignorance instead of evil. When someone insults you, remember Marcus's words. They act like this because they don't know good from evil. In other words, they are not wise yet. Why be angry at someone who hasn't yet learned better? Lower the weight of expectations. If you expect someone never to disappoint you, you're living in fantasy. But if you accept that people will fail you, then when they do, it's not a personal attack, it's just life unfolding. 4. Strengthen compassion without weakness. Compassion doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means refusing to let their flaws poison your soul. You can enforce boundaries, correct behavior, or walk away, but you can do it without rage. The shift that changes everything. Let's be real, people will let you down until the day you die. If you wait for a world where everyone behaves exactly as they should, you'll waste your life in misery. But if you accept imperfection as part of the human condition, you'll never again be shocked. And when you're not shocked, you don't get angry. Instead, you remain calm. This doesn't make you weak. In fact, it makes you unshakable. Because strength isn't measured by how loudly you yell when wronged. True strength is measured by how calmly you endure without being broken. Remember this: people are going to be people. They are going to lie. They are going to betray. They are going to cut corners, act selfishly, and disappoint you. The only real choice you have is whether you let their flaws disturb your peace or whether you rise above them. Marcus Aurelius didn't write those morning reminders for show. He wrote them to protect himself. Imagine being emperor, dealing with endless petitions, betrayals, political schemes, wars, and complaints every single day. If Marcus had expected gratitude, honesty, and loyalty at every turn, he would have burned with anger and despair. But by expecting flaws, he freed himself. He armored his mind. He stepped into each day prepared and therefore calm. You can do the same. Your life may not be an empire, but you rule something even more important: your own mind. So here's your practice tonight. Each morning, before you face the world, say to yourself, I expect flaws, but I choose peace. Say it until it becomes part of your mental armor. Say it until betrayal doesn't shock you, until insults don't shake you, until disappointment doesn't poison your peace. Because the truth is this: you cannot control human nature, but you can control how you prepare for it, and preparation is everything. So drop this in the comments right now: I expect flaws, but I choose peace. Let the world know you refuse to hand over your calm to the imperfections of others. Rule 3. Master the voice in your head. Let me ask you this: how many of your worst moments weren't actually about what happened, but about the way you talk to yourself afterward? Someone insults you once, but then you replay it 50 times in your mind. A mistake happens once, but then you drag it into tomorrow, next week, even next year. A disappointment knocks on your door, but then you give it a permanent room inside your head. The Stoics discovered something radical. It's not the world that makes us suffer. It's the commentary we run in our own minds. Epictetus said it plainly: men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. In other words, it's not reality. It's the story you tell yourself about reality. The inner narrator. We all have a voice inside our heads. Sometimes it's helpful, reminding us of what matters, but often it's destructive, exaggerating, blaming, catastrophizing. Someone says, "You're not good enough." The event is over in seconds, but your inner voice whispers, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'll never measure up." You make a mistake. The event is done. But your inner voice says, "You always fail. You'll never get it together. You face a setback. The fact is simple, but your inner voice layers on. This ruins everything. Nothing ever works out for me." And suddenly, The original wound is multiplied. You've been attacked not once, but repeatedly by your own mind. Seneca warned us we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The imagination speaks through your inner dialogue. If you don't train it, it will betray you. Why the voice hurts so much. Imagine this: a stranger mutters something rude in a language you don't understand. Do you get angry? No, you shrug, because the words never make it past your mind. They vanish. But if the same insult comes in your own language, suddenly your mind picks it up, interprets it, replays it, and you bleed inside. It's not the words themselves. It's your attachment to them. It's your choice to carry them. This is the secret. Nothing outside you can disturb you unless your mind agrees to it. That's why Epictetus declared, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself has the power to break my freedom of choice." Freedom begins with the voice you listen to inside your head. The 3 Stoic practices for inner dialogue. The Stoics gave us a toolkit to tame this inner voice. Let's walk through it step by step. 1. Catch the first thought. Anger often begins with a seed. They disrespected me. This is unbearable. How dare they? If you catch it quickly, you can stop it before it grows into a full storm. The trick is awareness. The moment you notice that first spark, remind yourself, this is just my judgment, not the truth. By catching the thought early, you prevent it from taking root. 2. Replace. Don't repeat. If you keep repeating the same angry script, "I can't believe they did this to me. I can't believe they said that," you're only deepening your pain. Instead, replace the script. Give your mind a new line. Say, "They act according to their nature, not mine. I control how I respond. That is my strength." By replacing instead of repeating, you rewrite the story in real time. 3 is talk like a guide, not an enemy. Too many people let their inner dialogue bully them. They talk to themselves with cruelty. You're weak. You're worthless. You always mess up. The Stoics teach us to flip this. Speak to yourself as a wise guide would. Ask, will this anger help me? Or is it better to let it go? Talk to yourself the way you'd counsel a dear friend, not the way you'd attack an enemy. The daily training ground. Here's a practice straight from Marcus Aurelius' journaling. He didn't write his meditations to publish them. He wrote them to discipline his inner voice. Each page was a battle, a conversation with himself. You can do the same. Each evening, reflect. Where did my inner dialogue betray me today? Did I add unnecessary stories to what happened? Did I exaggerate? Did I poison my own peace? Then rewrite those stories in calmer, wiser words. Over time, your inner dialogue transforms. The harsh critic becomes a calm coach. The angry script becomes a stoic script. The theater of the mind. Think of your mind as a theater. If you let angry scripts run freely, they dominate the stage. Every insult, every betrayal, every disappointment becomes a performance you replay again and again. But if you step in as director, you can change the script. You can tell your inner actors, we're not running that show anymore. Instead, you stage reason, patience, perspective, and anger has no stage to perform on. The next time you feel rage boiling, stop and ask yourself, what exactly am I saying to myself right now? You'll often find it's not the event, not the person, not the world. It's your inner dialogue fueling the fire. And the moment you see this clearly, the fire begins to die. How this changes you. Mastering your inner dialogue isn't about denial. It's not pretending bad things don't happen. It's about refusing to let your mind torture you with stories. Think of how many hours of peace you've lost, not because of reality, but because of your thoughts about reality. Once you see this, you reclaim your time, your clarity, your freedom. And here's the paradox: once you master your inner dialogue, even the worst insults, betrayals, or disappointments lose their sting. Why? Because they never make it past the gate of your mind. You decide what enters. You decide what story gets told. That's real freedom. So here's your practice tonight. The next time anger rises, don't ask, "What did they do?" Ask instead, "What story am I telling myself about what they did?" And then remind yourself, nothing outside me can disturb me unless my mind agrees to it. Drop this in the comments: "I am the master of my inner voice." Because once you believe it, once you practice it daily, nothing, not insults, not betrayal, not disappointment, can take your peace away. Rule 4. Hit the pause button. There's a saying often attributed to Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That line could be carved into the very heart of Stoicism, because anger thrives on immediacy. An insult is thrown and we snap. A setback hits and we explode. A betrayal surfaces and we rush headfirst into rage. But here's the truth. The Stoics understood if you can create even the smallest pause between what happens and what you do next, you rob anger of its power. The reflex versus the choice. Most of the time, our reactions are reflexes. Someone disrespects us, and we snap back. Someone inconveniences us, and we lash out. Someone criticizes us, and we defend, attack, or withdraw in hurt. But Stoicism asks us to rise above reflex, to remember that we are not animals bound by instinct. We are human beings, gifted with reason, capable of choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That power begins the moment you choose not to react instantly." The power of the pause. Let's make this real. Imagine someone insults you in front of others. The instant urge is to snap back, to defend yourself, to fight. But what if, just for 3 breaths, you pause? In that pause, you remind yourself their words cannot harm me unless I let them in. Suddenly, instead of being dragged into the mud, you rise above it. Or imagine you're stuck in traffic, already late. The car in front of you crawls forward, and frustration bubbles inside. Normally, you'd slam the horn, curse under your breath, or let the irritation sour your whole day. But if you pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this is outside my control. My peace is not. You turn chaos into calm. The pause doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you reclaim the freedom to decide how you'll face them. Why anger wants speed. Anger always wants to move fast. It's like a fire, it needs immediate fuel to keep burning. The quicker you react, the hotter it grows. That's why anger demands immediacy. But wisdom thrives in patience. The longer you wait, the weaker anger becomes. The Stoic Seneca said the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Why? Because delay starves anger. Without your instant reaction, the fire fizzles out, the insult loses its bite. The inconvenience shrinks back to its true size. The betrayal is met with measured judgment, not blind rage. Practical tools to build the pause. How do you build this pause into your life? The Stoics gave us simple, practical methods. 1. Train your breath. Make it a habit whenever anger rises. Take 3 slow breaths before saying or doing anything. Your breath becomes the anchor that steadies you in the storm. 2. Use mental cues. Choose a phrase that reminds you of your power. Something like, "This is just noise," or "I will not hand them my peace." Repeat it silently in heated moments. These cues buy you precious seconds to choose wisely. 3. Delay your response. If possible, wait before responding, especially to messages, emails, or confrontations. Give it an hour, give it a day. You'll notice that what felt urgent loses its fire with time. 4. Practice small. Pauses daily. Don't wait for big conflicts. Practice pausing in small annoyances: when you spill water, when someone talks too loudly, when plans change. These small pauses build the muscle for bigger storms. How the world reacts. Here's something fascinating. The world expects you to be reactive. They expect you to yell when insulted, slam the door when frustrated, or lash out when betrayed. So when you don't, when you respond with calm instead, it unsettles them. It throws people off balance. It shows them you cannot be controlled. That's real power. To remain calm in the face of provocation is not weakness, it is mastery. It proves you are not a slave to your impulses, but a commander of your inner world. Dignity in the pause. Let's take this even deeper. Creating space isn't just about avoiding conflict, it's about building dignity. When you pause, you're saying, "I am not an animal driven by reflex. I am a human being with reason, with discipline, with choice." That choice is where your freedom lives. Think about the last time you reacted in anger. Did it leave you proud or ashamed? The pause gives you the chance to act in a way you'll respect later. It's not about the satisfaction of the moment, it's about the dignity of your future self. A Stoic thought experiment. Imagine this: someone hands you a burning coal. If you grab it immediately, you burn. If you pause, if you hesitate, you notice what it is and you drop it before harm is done. That's what the pause does. It reveals what's really happening before your reflex destroys you. This week, practice the pause. When anger rises, don't rush to react. Breathe, delay, use your cue phrase, and notice how much calmer you feel. Notice how many fires never even start because you refuse to strike the match. Remember Seneca's wisdom. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Every pause you take is an act of strength, of wisdom, of freedom. So here's your practice tonight. The next time life tests you, don't ask, "How can I crush this anger instantly?" Ask instead, "Can I pause long enough to let reason step in?" and then affirm to yourself, "My pause is my power." Drop it in the comments right now. My pause is my power. Because when you practice this daily, anger loses its grip, and you discover that the greatest victories are not battles won outside, but battles won within. Rule 5. Don't take things personally. Here's a hard truth: most of the time when people insult you, criticize you, or treat you unfairly, it's not really about you at all. Let that sink in. Their words, their behavior, their actions are far more about them, their bitterness, their insecurity, their confusion than about your worth. But here's the problem: we forget this. We take their poison and drink it as if it's ours. We let their carelessness, their cruelty, or their opinion crawl inside our chest and live rent-free. And that's the moment we surrender our peace. Epictetus taught us this. If someone speaks badly of you, remember that they do so because they think it right. It is not the words themselves that harm you, but your interpretation of them. Read that again carefully. The insult itself cannot harm you. Only your interpretation can. Why insults sting? Why does an insult cut so deep? It's not because of the sound waves vibrating in the air. It's because of what you choose to believe about those sound waves. When someone calls you weak, lazy, or unworthy, those are just words. But if your mind agrees, if your mind repeats them, if your mind adopts them, then they pierce you. Seneca warned us, a man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. When someone insults you, you suffer twice. First, when they speak. Second, when you replay it in your mind again and again. The first wound is theirs. The second wound is yours. And the Stoics would ask, why give yourself the second wound? Why carry their burden as if it belonged to you? The mirror, not the dagger. Here's the liberating shift. Insults are rarely daggers, they are mirrors. They reveal far more about the person throwing them than about the person receiving them. If someone is bitter, bitterness will spill out. If someone is insecure, they will project that insecurity onto others. If someone is angry at life, they will aim that anger at anyone in sight. So the next time someone hurls words meant to wound you, ask yourself, what does this reveal about them, not me? Suddenly, the dagger dissolves into a mirror. The diamond analogy. Think of it this way. Imagine you're holding a flawless diamond. Someone walks up and sneers. That's worthless. Does the diamond lose its value because of their opinion? Of course not. The diamond is still precious, still shining, still valuable. So why do you treat yourself as if your worth depends on someone else's words? Their judgment doesn't change your value. It only reveals their blindness. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. That's the secret. An insult only lives if you give it shelter in your mind. 4 Stoic practices for insults. So how do we live this out? Let me give you 4 Stoic practices. 1. Redefine insults. Instead of thinking, they hurt me, shift your perspective. They revealed themselves. Their words don't expose your weakness, they expose their own bitterness, ignorance, or lack of control. 2. Practice indifference. When insults come, picture them as smoke drifting through the air. You can decide not to breathe them in. You can let them pass without reaction. 3. Detach worth from opinions. Your value is not dictated by what others say. It's dictated by who you are, by your character, by your choices. The crowd didn't define Socrates. The mob didn't define Marcus Aurelius. And the critics won't define you. 4. Respond with silence. One of the greatest ways to prove that insults don't touch you is to say nothing at all. Silence is strength. Silence unsettles the insulter. But most importantly, it preserves your peace. Why? This is so hard. Let's be honest, it's not easy. Words sting, lies sting, betrayal stings. We are human, and it hurts. But the Stoics remind us the sting doesn't come from the event itself. It comes from your decision to let it enter your soul. You cannot control the words that leave someone else's mouth, but you can absolutely control the space you give them in your mind. Think of insults like burning coals. If someone hands you a burning coal and you grab it, you're the one burned. If you drop it, it cannot harm you. The wise person drops it. The fool clutches it tightly and wonders why the pain continues. Marcus Aurelius's perspective. Marcus gave himself this reminder when another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms. Go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. Read that carefully when insulted. Don't stop at the words. Look deeper. Ask, what kind of soul must they have to speak like this? You'll quickly see it's not your weakness that made them lash out. It's theirs. A Stoic scenario. Picture this: you're at work. A colleague mocks you in front of others. The old reflex rises. You want to snap back, defend yourself, humiliate them in return. But then you remember, this reveals them, not me. You pause. You stay silent. You stand calm. And something powerful happens. Their words fall flat. The room notices your composure, and the insulter is unsettled, exposed, and weakened by their own outburst. You leave not with the satisfaction of revenge, but with the dignity of calm. And that dignity is worth more than any comeback you could deliver. What freedom looks like. The moment you stop taking insults personally, you become untouchable. People may shout, mock, or criticize, but their words cannot chain you unless you agree to wear the chains. The wise person doesn't waste energy fighting shadows. They keep walking forward, untouchable in their calm. This doesn't mean you tolerate abuse or stay silent in the face of injustice. It means you decide what enters your soul. It means you reserve your energy for meaningful battles, not petty squabbles. This week, when someone insults you, I want you to try something radical. Don't respond. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just observe. See what their words reveal about them. And then walk away with your dignity intact. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you've chosen peace over poison. So here's your practice tonight. The next time someone throws words meant to wound you, remind yourself, this is not mine to carry. Drop this in the comments. This is not mine to carry. Because when you live this truth, you discover something extraordinary. Nobody can touch your peace without your permission. And once you stop taking things personally, you are free. Rule 6. Drop it quickly like it's hot. Seneca once said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Think about that. The insult, the betrayal, the unfairness, they may sting once, but when you hold on to them, replaying them over and over, you suffer 1,000 times more. Most people don't just get angry in the moment. They nurse their anger. They water it, feed it, replay it, and let it grow into bitterness. They carry grudges like trophies, and yet, who suffers the most? Not the offender, the carrier. If you truly want to be free, if you want to live untouchable, you must master the art of letting go. Not tomorrow, not next week, but quickly. Like dropping a burning coal before it sears you. Why holding on hurts. Picture this: you're in an argument. Harsh words are exchanged. Later that night, the other person is asleep, snoring peacefully. But you're wide awake, replaying every word, feeling the fire all over again. Who suffers more? Not them, you. When you hold anger, you give them free rent in your mind. You let their actions wound you again and again, long after the moment has passed. Marcus Aurelius gave us a remedy. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When you hold on to anger, you mirror the very person who harmed you. But when you let go, you rise above them. You reclaim your dignity. You protect your peace. The burning coal. The Stoics loved vivid metaphors. Here's one: anger is like carrying a burning coal, hoping to throw it at your enemy. But the longer you hold it, the more it burns you. That's what holding a grudge does. It doesn't scorch the other person, it scorches you. The solution is simple. Drop it. Quickly. Don't give the coal a chance to scar your soul. How to let go quickly. But how do we do this in practice? It's one thing to hear "let it go." It's another to actually release the anger. The Stoics give us a roadmap. 1. Name the weight. The first step is honesty. Admit I am carrying this anger. Too often, we disguise it as justice or righteousness, but the moment you name it, you can decide to put it down. 2. Refuse the second wound. The Stoics remind us the first wound is what someone does to you. The second wound is what you do to yourself by clinging to it. Ask yourself, why should I suffer twice for something that has already happened? Refuse the second wound. Drop it. 3. Shift focus to action. If there's something you can fix, fix it. If not, accept it and move forward. Anger is wasted energy. Channel that energy into purposeful action instead. That's how you turn pain into power. 4. Practice mental release. Visualize the anger as a stone in your hand. See yourself opening your palm and letting it fall. Sometimes, a simple visualization helps your heart release what your mind keeps gripping. The poison of resentment. Seneca also warned anger, if not dismissed, is like poison. The longer you hold it, the more it spreads, clouding your thoughts, poisoning your relationships, stealing your peace. Have you ever met someone who lives in resentment? You can see it in their face, hear it in their tone, feel it in their presence. Their past is still alive inside them, consuming their present. That's what happens when you don't let go. Life is too short for that kind of poison. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If this were your last day, would you want to spend it replaying an insult, holding bitterness, nursing a grudge? Or would you rather release it and live with calm? Imagine this: a friend betrays your trust. The anger flares. You feel wounded. Option 1, you hold on. You replay the betrayal every day, growing bitter, cold, hardened. You let their weakness dictate your peace. Option 2, you drop it. You say, it has happened. It is over. I will not relive it. And suddenly, the burden lifts. You breathe again. You reclaim the present moment. Which option sounds more powerful? Which one makes you freer? Why letting go is strength. Some people believe letting go makes you weak, that it means excusing bad behavior. But the Stoics flip this completely. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. When you drop anger quickly, you're not saying what happened was right. You're saying I refuse to give it more of my life. That's strength. That's freedom. Marcus said the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. To let go quickly is to prove you cannot be dragged down into the same mud. A daily practice. Here's a simple daily exercise. Each night, reflect, what anger am I still carrying from today? Picture it as a stone in your hand. Then visualize yourself setting it down before sleep. This ritual clears your mind, cleans your heart, and ensures you don't carry today's poison into tomorrow. So here's your practice tonight. When anger rises, ask yourself, do I want to hold this burning coal, or will I drop it now? Then affirm, the quicker I let go, the lighter I become. Drop it in the comments, the quicker I let go, the lighter I become. Because the truth is, the ability to let go quickly is not just about peace, it's about freedom. They may wound you once, but you will not give them the satisfaction of wounding you again through your own mind. Rule 7. Turn problems into teachers. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This might be the most powerful Stoic truth of all. It means obstacles are not your enemies, they are your teachers. Every insult, every frustration, every betrayal, every delay, they are not punishments, they are lessons. But here's the problem. Most people treat difficulties like personal attacks. Someone disrespects us, and we feel wounded. Something blocks our progress, and we feel cheated. Life turns against us, and we cry out, "Why me?" The Stoics flip this completely. They remind us life doesn't owe you smooth roads. In fact, it's the bumps, the barriers, the blocks that shape your strength. Why anger rises in the first place. Think carefully. Why does anger rise? Because something didn't go the way you wanted. The world didn't match your expectations. The event collided with your preferences. But what if you shifted the question instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can this teach me?" Suddenly, anger weakens. Frustration transforms. The problem turns into practice. Resistance builds. Strength. Seneca taught difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Think of lifting weights. Your muscles only grow when they meet resistance. Without resistance, they stay weak. The same is true for your character. If you never face disrespect, how would you practice patience if no one ever opposed you? How would you develop resilience if life never disappointed you? How would you learn acceptance? Your obstacles are your training ground. Without them, you would remain fragile. With them, you become unshakable. The Stoic mindset shift. To apply this rule, you must train 3 key shifts in your mind. 1. Ask the training question when someone angers you. Don't ask, "Why is this happening?" Instead, ask, "What skill is life training me in right now?" Patience, calm, detachment, resilience. This reframe changes frustration into practice. 2. Flip the value of setbacks. When things don't go your way, don't say, "This ruins everything." Say, "This is part of my training." Treat every difficulty as a weight in the gym of life. Without it, you wouldn't grow. 3. Honor the lesson, not the hurt. Even when pain strikes, focus on the lesson it brings, not the wound it leaves. An insult may sting, but it teaches you endurance. A delay may frustrate you, but it teaches you patience. A betrayal may wound you, but it teaches you wisdom. Practical scenarios. Let's make this concrete. Scenario 1. Betrayal. A friend betrays your trust. The natural response is rage. But what if you step back and ask, "What does this teach me about trust?" about human nature, about resilience. Suddenly, the betrayal isn't just pain, it's wisdom. Scenario 2. Lost opportunity. You work hard for something, but it slips through your fingers. Most people drown in bitterness. But the Stoic response is, this loss is my training in acceptance. It prepares me for something greater. The obstacle doesn't break you, it builds you. Scenario 3. Daily annoyances. The rude driver, the long line, the delayed flight. Instead of thinking, why does this always happen to me? Remind yourself this is training in patience. Small annoyances become practice reps for bigger challenges. The Emperor's example. Marcus Aurelius lived this every day. As emperor, he faced betrayal, war, plague, endless criticism. He had more reasons than anyone to drown in anger. Yet, instead of raging at life's unfairness, he wrote to himself, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path." He used every hardship to strengthen his soul. That's why his meditations books still inspire us 2,000 years later, because they're not lofty theories. They're field notes from a man who faced storms daily and chose to see them as teachers. The deeper freedom. Once you start seeing problems as teachers, something amazing happens. You stop being surprised by them. Instead of anger, you feel readiness. Instead of bitterness, you feel wisdom. Imagine this: instead of reacting with, "Why is this happening to me?" your automatic response becomes, here's my training. That single shift makes you nearly untouchable, because nothing can shock you anymore. Every insult, training in calm. Every betrayal, training in wisdom. Every obstacle, training in resilience. Nothing is wasted. Everything becomes fuel for your growth. This week, I want you to practice the training question. Every time you feel anger rising, stop and ask, what is life training me in right now? At first, it may feel strange, but the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. And soon, problems will no longer feel like curses. They will feel like classrooms. So here's your practice tonight. The next time anger boils because life isn't going your way, pause and remind yourself, the obstacle is not my enemy, it is my teacher. Drop this in the comments. Every obstacle is my teacher, not my enemy. Because when you truly live this, nothing can defeat you. Every hardship becomes a stepping stone. Every difficulty becomes an ally in disguise. And you rise above anger into wisdom. Rule 8: stay right here, right now. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That line cuts deep, because if you look closely at most of your anger, frustration, and upset, you'll find it doesn't come from the present moment. It comes from replaying the past or pre-playing the future. Someone wrongs you yesterday, and today you're still carrying it. You replay it in your mind, again and again, as if suffering it once wasn't enough. Or you fear what might happen tomorrow. Betrayal, failure, disappointment, and your mind spirals into anger at things that haven't even occurred. The Stoics understood this trap. They taught that your power lies in the present moment, the only place life is ever truly happening. You cannot change the past. You cannot control the future, but you can always control how you think, where you place your attention, and how you act right now. Why the present matters. Anger thrives in shadows, shadows of what was or what could be. You replay yesterday's insult. The anger grows. You imagine tomorrow's betrayal. the anger grows. You cling to should-haves and could-haves. The anger grows. But look at the present moment, right now. Is someone insulting you at this exact second? Is betrayal happening in front of you, or are those just ghosts in your imagination? Most of the time, the present is calm, neutral, manageable. It's the mind that drags storms from other times and throws them into now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Confine yourself to the present, because when you do, the fire of anger fades." So how do we anchor ourselves here, in the now? The Stoics offer us practical methods. 1. Notice when the mind wanders. The first step is awareness. Catch yourself when your mind drifts into replaying the past or fearing the future. Say, I am not here. I am wandering. That simple awareness is the first anchor. 2. Use your senses. The present lives in the body. Notice what you see, hear, touch, smell. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your breath moving in and out. Anchoring in the senses pulls you back from the shadows into reality. 3. Ask, what can I do now? Instead of ruminating, shift to action. Ask, what step can I take right now to improve my situation or preserve my peace? Even the smallest action dissolves imagined anger. 4. Release the should-haves. A huge source of anger comes from expectations. They should have treated me better. Life should have been fairer. This shouldn't have happened. But the Stoics remind us reality doesn't bend to our preferences. Accept what is. Release the should-haves. Return to now. The trap of time. Think of your mind like a traveler. It loves to wander into yesterday and tomorrow, dragging souvenirs of pain and worry. But your body, your real life never leaves the present. The Stoics ask us to reunite the two, to pull the wandering mind back into the grounded body, to live where life is actually unfolding. Because here, in the present, you have power. You can choose patience. You can choose calm. You can choose peace. Imagine this: you're sitting in traffic, late for a meeting. Your mind screams, "This shouldn't be happening. I'm wasting time. What if I get fired? What if they judge me?" Anger builds, stress builds. But pause. Return to the present. What is actually happening? You're sitting in a car, breathing, existing. That's it. The rest is imagination. By anchoring yourself in the now, the storm dissolves. You realize, I cannot control the traffic, but I can control my response right here, right now. Why the present is peace. The present is neutral. It doesn't insult, betray, or frustrate. It just is, like the surface of a calm lake. It's only when the mind throws stones of memory or fear that ripples form. Epictetus put it simply: don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. Anchoring in the present is exactly that. Accepting life as it is. Refusing to let imagined scenarios rob your peace. Choosing to respond calmly to what's real, not to what's replayed or feared. A daily practice. Here's a practice you can start today. Each morning or evening, set aside 5 minutes. Sit quietly. Focus on your breath. Notice your surroundings. Each time your mind wanders to the past or future, gently return it to now. This simple practice trains your mind to live where peace lives in the present. Here's the deeper truth: when you live fully in the present, you become untouchable. The world can throw insults, delays, and disappointments your way, but you won't be dragged into replaying or pre-playing them. You'll meet life where it actually happens calm, grounded, ready. Anger thrives in yesterday and tomorrow. Peace thrives in today. So here's your practice tonight. The next time anger rises, ask yourself, am I upset by reality or by a memory or imagination? Then affirm, I live in the present, and peace is my anchor. Drop it in the comments, I live in the present, and peace is my anchor. Because when you live here, truly here, the storms of anger lose their grip, and you discover what the Stoics knew all along: no one can steal your calm unless you hand it to them. The journey comes full circle. From separating events from judgments, to expecting flaws, to mastering your inner dialogue, from hitting the pause button, to refusing to take things personally, to dropping anger quickly, to turning problems into teachers, and finally, anchoring yourself in the present, you now have the full Stoic roadmap to inner peace. The Stoics taught us a simple, profound truth: the world cannot harm you unless you give it permission. Every insult, frustration, and setback is neutral until your mind interprets it. By mastering your mind, you step out of the storm of anger and into the calm of reason. Remember, anger is a thief. It steals clarity, joy, and strength, but you don't have to let it. When you practice these 8 rules daily, you become untouchable, calm, free, at peace. And so, we've walked together through the 8 Stoic rules that can destroy anger and upset forever, and replace them with something infinitely more powerful: inner calm, strength, and freedom. The storms of life will not end. People will still betray, insult, or disappoint. Circumstances will still shift without warning. The world will still test you again and again. But the difference now is this: you no longer face those storms unarmed. You carry the tools of the Stoics, the power to separate events from judgments, the wisdom to expect flaws without being shaken, the discipline to master your inner voice, the strength to pause before reacting, the clarity to not take things personally, the courage to let go quickly, the resilience to turn problems into teachers, and the deep peace of staying right here, right now. Each rule is a shield, each principle a lamp that lights your path. When you practice them daily, you no longer hand your peace over to anyone or anything. You remain calm in chaos, untouchable in storms, steady in a world that constantly tries to pull you away from yourself. So take a long breath. Feel the weight on your shoulders soften and fall away. Remember, anger is always a choice, but so is peace. And peace, my friend, is always the stronger choice. If tonight's journey spoke to you, leave your affirmation in the comments: I am untouchable, calm, and at peace. And if you'd like more nights like this, more reminders to carry into your days, quietly subscribe channel and join me again. Now, let the world be the world, and let your soul remain still. Good night, sweet dreams.